So maybe you knew this before, like probably everybody's heard of auras, whether you believe in them or not. But what a lot of people didn't know, what I definitely didn't know before human design, is that there are different aura types. You probably heard of different aura colors, but they're actual different categories of auras, and they operate in totally different ways. So the first one we're going to talk about is the manifestor. And we talk about this first because this is the not self-programming that most of us have. So you see, at most, it's about 8% of the population. That means 92% of us, if we're running this manifestor program, we're in the not self. So the manifestor is that, like, you know, go out, initiate, pound the pavement, the American dream, you know, get off your butt and get moving. And that program is only correct for about 8% of humans. And for those humans, they have to move, they have to initiate in order for their aura to work correctly. They can't wait around like a generator. So they, because they're a pure energy, they end up dealing with a lot of anger. And because of that, there's been a weird ricochet going on where a lot of manifestors, even well-meaning ones, have tried to spread their doctrine and, you know, their strategy and homogenize it to everyone, but it only works for them. So manifestors, they have a repelling aura. These are people who say, you know, I want to go to Five Guys restaurant. I don't know where one is. They turn the corner and there's a Five Guys right there. They say it, they move, it happens.
I was explaining it the other day, and the manifestors, they kind of tie into the universal law of action. And the universal law of action is whenever you're trying to manifest anything in the reality, the actual key to manifestation is once you get the image within your mindset and within the imagination, then the next thing that you do after you come away from the meditation is you apply some sort of action. So the manifestors, they represent that action that you would apply on the ground when you're trying to manifest things, or when you're trying to actually make things materialize within the reality. So as the manifestor literally walks their everyday walk, the reality tends to kind of morph and shape around their thoughts. So as you stroll along as a manifestor, and this is the reason why people, even if you don't know it, but you innately love your manifestor friends, because every time you come around those manifestor friends, things start to just pop off, things start to happen, but it's always a movement. So being a manifestor, you're always being called on to do something. It's always something, it's always about some type of movement. So a lot of times you can kind of feel as if your energy is being used. So the repelling aura.
Yes.
It is so repelling. Like, you can repel any obstacle, any obstacle. The people that make it up to the multi-level marketing programs, or the pyramid scheme type programs, is always a manifestor at the top. Always, because they are the only ones who can literally walk through that gauntlet without getting scraped up, without going broke, without having to live on the street to sacrifice everything that they have and want. You know, so they live as a manifestor. If you are a manifestor, you do live a charmed existence. You know, but the reality will try to get you to slow down. You see, and it's not okay for you to slow down. Manifestors, you guys are the movement. You represent the law of action, the universal law of action, and without you, we won't be able to move things into action.
Manifestor children in the classroom should not be expected to sit still all day. That's like child abuse.
Yes.
Manifestor energy does not, there is no for the manifestor aura. So the best you can do when you're parenting or teaching or guiding manifestors as children is you give them a boundary and then let them do whatever they want within that boundary. And a lot of times, like, parents who aren't manifestors, they're afraid because they don't have a repelling aura, so they think they should teach their child to behave as though they don't have a repelling aura and everything's so dangerous. The manifestor child is the type of child that could get lost, walk through, all of Manhattan and come home, and it was just an adventure, and his parents are freaking out, and the child's like, what? And he's like 4,
Yes.
The aura is magical, and like
it's protected too.
They have like a magical protection field. Now, they can repel obstacles, but the idea is that they're repelling the obstacles to get to the goal. So the repelling is supposed to be for the obstacles and not everything.
Yes. Another jewel to drop in there, with as far as the manifesting auras, that auras can be programmed. And this is so important for you to understand. You can program your repelling aura to only repel certain things. But first you have to slow down enough within yourself to literally speak to yourself. So one thing you got to know about programming just anything within the reality is you have to speak to it. So yes, your cells do know English, Spanish, patois, what other German, Chinese, the inner workings of yourself. It knows your language, so you can speak to yourself, and your higher self is listening. And also you can speak to your aura, and you can program it to remove or repel certain things out of your way. And if you have a manifestor friend and they might not know that they're a manifestor, then you might want to tell them this. You might want to just say, hey, you're the one that can get, all of these jobs, and they're the ones that go from job to job to job to job to job to job, and you're like, how the heck are you doing this? It's because they can pretty much do what they want to do. So manifestors, it's important for you to understand that it is safe to be you. Who do you impact? Your energy is very, very impactful because of the repelling quality of it. So people can feel you when you leave. People can feel you when you arrive. So you are important. And I feel like today, I don't know why, today I'm going to tell everybody that they are important. Because you have to know this. You just have to know this. There are billions of people on the planet, and it's only a couple of us that's learning this knowledge right here. So be proud of yourself and know that you have made it.
A lot of manifestors I meet, it's so funny because everybody thinks they want to be a manifestor, but it's really, really lonely to be a manifestor a lot of the time. Because they have this powerful repelling aura, they can't sit still for a long time, and other people can't necessarily hang around them. So they end up having to initiate and be alone a lot, and they're only 8% of the population. So they're getting a lot of not self-programming from other people around them, while at the same time everybody kind of wants to be them. So it's like, oh, be careful, you should slow down, let me say no to everything you want to do, but at the same time, oh, I wish I had the magic you have. So it's just a confusing thing that's going on because your parents probably didn't know you were a manifestor. They more than likely weren't manifestors. So just know that a lot of manifestors, you can be holding on to, some real sadness and anger and stuff because your energy was forced into a box that it wasn't supposed to be in.
Also, manifestors, another key component is that you guys represent. You guys are non-verbal creators, and it's important it's important that you understand that you are a non-verbal creator because your strategy is to inform. And how can you inform when you're really non-verbal?
Yes, you do not want to talk about it. You want to just do it.
There we go.
But your strategy is you got to tell people first, and the reason is your energy drops bombs. So if you're like, hey, and it could be a love bomb, but if you're like, hey, I'm about to kick off this event over here, it's going to impact you. Do you want to be involved or not?
Yes.
Just let people know. You're not going to want to do it, but you'll see if you put that in practice, things will be much smoother afterwards, because then the people who don't want to get impacted can exit.
Yes.
And they can respond as generators are meant to do.
Yes, and a lot of manifestors, a lot of times, you know, you might be afraid to state what it is that you want because you may be afraid that they're going to say no.
When the manifestor hears no, it like burns you.
Yeah,
you know?
And the reason why it burns is because you're pure energy. So if you're pure energy, living in a world full of energy, is, you know, there are no doors, there are no barriers. So technically, the reality is never saying no to you. So how can a person say no to you? You know, you are the energy. You represent the energy in motion. So, you know, you do have a right to exist, and you do have a right to desire what it is that you desire.
We just didn't have these manuals. These are like the cheat codes to our reality, and we didn't have them, and we're all going around, and our egos or like our fears were trying to make us act like we knew, and we didn't know what the heck was going on.